property. Oftentimes, after storms, this is when unscrupulous actors often jump in and try to take advantage of Floridians. We have seen it time and time again. And specifically, our office aggressively fights and combats what we call price gouging. And that is when sellers will grossly jack up a price to take advantage of consumers that need these commodities in times of emergencies, because they know they often have no other choice but to buy these products at these exorbitant prices. Our office wants to make sure that those that want to jump in and take a profit off of other people's despair can't do that. And oftentimes these cases are hard to investigate. They are hard to bring to conclusion because, as you can imagine, at a time of chaos and emergency, when the government has declared a state of emergency and people are trying to protect their families and their properties and all of their possessions, this is the last time they are in a place to start collecting information to help our office go after these unscrupulous actors. I can tell you it is not only immoral, it is illegal to price gouge. And as long as I am given the opportunity to be Florida's Attorney General, we will aggressively go after people that take advantage of those in time of disaster. And so today we are announcing a price gouging app. We are in a new age of technology. We are doing everything that we can to ensure that we decrease our inability to gather information, and we make it easier for consumers to help us in these times. And so we are introducing a price gouging app called No Scam, and this will strengthen our efforts along with the efforts of the communities to not only determine who is taking advantage of Floridians, but successfully bring enforcement actions. You can help us by going online and downloading the app. The app will allow users in real time to report a location where price gouging is suspected, send pictures of prices or signs directly to our office, so you're not having to go back and find a computer and find an email to get them to us at a later point. You can use a smartphone after the app is downloaded to send them to us directly. It allows citizens to write narratives about an experience with a seller, about what they are seeing in real time, so our investigators on the ground can go directly there and start also adding to the information that is sent to us. It allows consumers to give us evidence of similar products and prices in the vicinity and capture additional supporting documentation. It is a free app. It is extremely easy to use, and I would advise anyone who has a smartphone who believes that they would be willing to assist us in a time of emergency as they are going out and determining products and commodities that they may need. If they see prices that seem to be exceedingly high and they see that certain retailers or sellers are looking to take advantage of an unfortunate situation, we need the community to help us help them. Oftentimes, government works at its best when citizens are willing to be engaged and offer assistance in helping us do our jobs. And as Attorney General, I will not stop at improving at what we do to better protect Floridians, and I will continue to ask Floridians to help me in these important efforts. So again, I am excited about this new app. I believe it is one of the first of its kind to help citizens in a state during times of disaster. We will use this to aggressively go after those that look to take advantage of Floridians in times of disaster. I'm going to go ahead and offer our sheriff and chief from Clearwater to make statements as they wish. Sheriff?
Thanks to General Moody's commitment to protecting Floridians, our community, all Florida communities, now have an avenue, an easy, convenient, and simple avenue to report those disgusting individuals who want to take advantage of us before, during, and after a storm. Just like the General stated, as part of being prepared, having those resources, knowing the evacuation zone that you're in, having an evacuation route, having the 7 days worth of supplies that you need to maintain your family regardless of what type of storm is coming. Make sure you're prepared. Help law enforcement discover and prosecute these individuals to the fullest extent of the law. These disgusting individuals who want to take advantage of us in our most dire time. Chief?
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, General Moody. I think we all who have experienced hurricanes from a response standpoint understand how extremely scarce resources are after a hurricane hits. And to make our job in law enforcement a little easier so that we can address these things in a very rapid manner is just a wonderful addition to our community, and I want to thank General Moody for spearheading this initiative. To do an investigation on price gouging, it requires some very specific information and very timely information. If you were to experience price gouging in the past, you would have to call for a police officer, and in the midst of after a storm, you might get a response, in a certain amount of time, and then we would try to document it. So much information gets lost there. Or in the past, maybe you used like a call hotline where you would leave information and wait for a return call. This app, if you download it today as part of your regular hurricane preparation, will allow you to get that information, collect it immediately on scene, and archive it and collect it and save it so that we can take the appropriate action from that information. And so I can't think of a better way to collect this information. It's a wonderful use of technology, and I'm just very grateful for General Moody for putting this app together. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Well, we appreciate you giving your time and attention to be here today to help us communicate this to the public, to let them know that this is available and can be of assistance during times of emergency. We will continue to make sure that we are announcing this in communities across Florida, to make sure that our citizens are prepared if we should face a hurricane this season. I would ask if you have any questions. At this point, I'd be willing to take those.
General Moody, what are you doing about the do not call list? It seems like that is outrageous. How many times people break that do not call list? Is there any effort that you're making in order to make that better for Floridians whose lives are just being hassled by that?
Well, I can tell you the motto in our office is to protect Floridians. And as you can see today, we are announcing a new app to help us use technology to protect Floridians. This is something that our office is doing. It is something that is a new effort, one of the first of its kind, I believe, in this country. But oftentimes, as technology can help us protect Floridians, we also have to make sure that technology is not being used to take advantage of Floridians. As you know, my office has been aggressive in working with national partners to end robocalls, to end spoofing. As you know, Floridians are often taken advantage of in fraud, deceit, scams. We are #1 in the nation in fraud. And that is why we are using technology to go after those that seek to take advantage of Floridians, turning technology back around on those that seek to prey on our consumers.
On price gouging, when does the actual time start? Is it when a storm forms in the area, or how much before it, and then how long after?
That is a great question. The governor will declare a state of emergency when we are facing a storm. Oftentimes, even after the storm passes, that state of emergency will be extended, as we have seen that many times with Michael. In fact, the state of emergency in Michael was just extended again last Friday to continue another 60 days. And that is often done when we're trying to ensure that we are still recovering, making sure, as you know, with Michael, we still have people trying to take advantage of Floridians. Our office is fielding complaints, helping consumers, and making sure that we are working diligently to document any illegal activity.
So we could technically, once the thing goes down, the state of emergency, people can raise prices. Is there any rule against having exorbitantly high prices just because maybe you're in a poorer neighborhood or a harder to reach area?
Well, the point in having the price gouging statutes is to make sure that in a time of emergency, people are not using that time of chaos and increased demand because of an emergency situation for survival to take advantage of Floridians. Once a state of emergency passes, the normal supply and demand pricing would go back into effect.
What are the penalties for price gouging?
So in addition to the price gouging statutes, where we could go after fines of $1,000 per day or $1,000 per incident, which is significant, we can also, in certain actions, bring Florida Deceptive Trade Practices Act actions, which we often do, and those have penalties along with them as well. I can tell you, over the past 2 years, our office has recovered hundreds of thousands of dollars for consumers through its actions. We note that we can improve the way we are collecting information if we have the help of people that are on the ground at the time they recognize price gouging, collecting that information for us. They're in the best position to do it. Our app actually allows someone who has downloaded it to record their location in real time and send that to our office. So it'll automatically populate the field where they are, so they don't have to go and ask, what is the address? It makes it very easy, and that will help us go after those that are taking advantage of Floridians. The quicker we can do that, the quicker we can prevent those same people from taking advantage of other Floridians during a time of emergency.
Even with this app, will it be still hard to charge these people? Because I know in the past, people have price gouged, but it's really hard to go after them. Will this make it a lot easier?
That is a great question. It's the question of the day. That is exactly why we have decided to develop this app and start telling people about it now. We recognized that these cases are often hard to enforce because of the inability to quickly, promptly gather information and communicate that to our office. Because as you can imagine, during a time of emergency, people can't get to their computers right away. They can't get to phones right away that might be able to talk to someone. If you have an app that's already downloaded that will help you identify all the relevant information, in fact, the app walks you through specifically, depending on the type of gouging that we're seeing, whether that deals with hotels, whether that deals with gasoline, whether that deals with lumber. It walks you through the exact information we will need to make a case if in fact it's determined to be price gouging. And so this will allow us to be more prompt in our enforcement actions, which will prevent those people from taking advantage of other Floridians.
You said something price gouging. How much do you have to raise it for it to be price gouging?
It has to grossly exceed the average price. And generally we'll look at the average price about 30 days prior to the state of emergency. Not always will a complaint amount to price gouging. As you can imagine, there are a lot of products that I see that I believe are too high priced right now. But during times of emergency, when you see a bottle of water being sold for $20, when you see a tarp being sold for $20,000, it's easy to identify when something grossly exceeds the average price of that product. That's what we're seeking to stop. We cannot have that during times of emergency. People have to have the ability to get supplies to provide for their family during times of emergency. We're here to aggressively stop the act of price gouging. As long as I am the Attorney General and I have this great responsibility, we will do that.
We'll take one more. How many complaints from Irma have you actually led to charges or a lawsuit?
We have recovered hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 2 years as a result of price gouging activities. We have settled cases. We have reached consent judgments after litigation. We've helped 2,300 consumers. We are still working through complaints that we received from storms going back last year. As you know, it takes sometimes to bring to fruition cases after we get this information, and that is what this app is seeking to help us do in a more expeditious fashion.
Does the money go back to the consumer?
Absolutely. The whole point in our office is to protect Floridians from harm, from scams, from those seeking to take advantage of them, and if at all possible, we will aggressively recoup money that was taken from them and try to get that back into the hands it belongs in.
Thank Thank you.
said that, you had said that there's sometimes self-service problems during a storm like that. So is there like a questionnaire that people can download ahead of time to keep with their hurricane paperwork so that they can take notes for the information that they will need for the app?
Well, we've already started pushing out that information. Prior to the announcement of this app, we have pushed out the things that someone would need to look for and gather for us to successfully prosecute a price gouging case. We've done that through public service announcements. We have done that in our hurricane preparedness manual. So that is available. You can also go to our website, and that is included on our website, myfloridalegal.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you.